Hi, and welcome to Drawing Expressions with Aleesha Sattva. I am Aleesha Sattva. I'm a CZT. I'm a watercolor artist. I'm just another creative, a fellow creative like yourself. And I am honored that you have chosen to join me today to do some tangles. We're not in my garden. It is still really, really hot here in Thailand. And so we're going to be inside today again. Let's begin by setting a space. And if you want to light a candle, set up a little tea ceremony for yourself, whatever, go ahead and do that. Pause the video now. Otherwise, let's take a nice, deep, grounding breath together. So let's make sure our feet, if you're sitting in a chair, they're flat on the floor. Feel the sit bones in your bum, in your buttocks. Feel your shoulders and let them relax. Go ahead and close your eyes. Take a beautiful deep inhalation of breath and hold it. And gently exhale. And let's do that again. Inhalation of breath. And hold it. And exhale. Oh, it is so great to be tangling with you today. I've been having so much fun with these tangles. I've been dying to teach this class, so we're just going to get right into it. You know me, I don't fuss around. So I grabbed, I think, the same tools that I grabbed in the last class, which is my microns and my Faber-Castells. So just 3 to have some variation in my line. I'm going to be using my Micron 10, and as I said, I would not normally use something this large, but it's really great for anybody who has shakier hands, for example. Really great. Use a bigger pen. Don't use the small ones because they break easily. It's actually a plastic little tube at the end that fills with ink. So if you push too hard on these multi-liners, they break. And so using a larger one, if you've got a heavy hand or if your hands shake a lot, it really helps to make a nicer line. Okay, so we have our basics tangle page. Oh, I have a little tiny baby ant. Let's get rid of that. Hold on, I want to save it. There we go, it's gone. So we have our basics page that we created, and I wanted to keep working on this page because I feel like it's not done yet. And I thought it would be a really fun place for us to sort of start our tangle today using this page. We're going to be doing 3 tangles today. We're going to do Tortuca, and that's with a C, Tortuca. We're doing Printemps, however you say it. And the third one that we're doing is Betweed. Sorry, I'm so terrible with names. That's the most challenging part of teaching for me, is trying to remember the names so I can tell them to you. I keep saying, write them on a piece of paper. And then I never do. So maybe I'll learn. We can hope. We can hope. I'm going to start off with Betweed because I love Betweed. And I made a couple of examples for you on how you can do Betweed. And we'll put them up somewhere here. Chris is very good at that. She'll add images in as needed. But let's get started. So Betweed it can be very organic or it can be really constrained, depending. You can see in the 2 examples that I showed, there's a real difference between how you can draw this. So we're going to do this because this is quite becoming quite organic, but it's also quite tight. I want to loosen it up a little bit. So I'm going to come up to this top corner and I'm going to work in this corner, and I'm just going to do the Betweed upside down so that it works better for me. So I'm going to come, just making sure my hands aren't in the way, and I'm going to bring a line from here, and I'm not going to make it straight because I want it to be organic, and I'm going to allow it to have a little bit of a curve to it. Now I'm going to make 3 lines. So we need to do a third and a third, and it doesn't have to be a perfect third and a third. Don't start getting out stuff, like just eyeball it. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to come over, and I'm allowing my lines to be curved. These could be straight. They don't have to be curved. It's just that I want to do a curved line. So now the only challenge here is that I want to hit that center point. If I don't, it doesn't matter because it's Zentangle. So it's not a mistake, it's an opportunity. I'm going to specifically make sure that I miss it right now so that we can use this as an opportunity. So let's come in and let's miss that corner. So as you can see, nothing ugly about missing that corner. Now it's just a little triangle. So we could work within that triangle and we could make it into something later on if we want to. So you can see it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. And yeah, I know I harp on that, and I'm always going to, because I want you to do you. If you're drawing a line that I'm saying, like, let's do this, and you have the urge to do something else, do you. Don't follow me. You can always go back and watch this recording. You can try it my way later if you really want to. Do it your way, because your way is the best way, in my opinion. So here's Betweed. Let's keep going. So if you want these lines to become heavy, then you want to follow up the line from the bottom. If you don't, then you might want to start a little bit higher. But I always start from the bottom, and you just bring a line up, and then you bring it over. And as you touch the other side, make a little circle. And then you can go in and you can just fill that in. So you got this little seed pod. And now I'm going to come from the other side, and I'm going to follow the line, and I'm going to do the same thing. And when I touch that line, I'm going to make another little seed pod. Rinse and repeat. This side, I'm going to come up, I'm going to go over. So it can go as far as you want. You can have more of your seed pods, as I'm referring to them, in the center, or they can be more over to the side. It doesn't matter. They can be whatever you want. I love to take a final one and just sort of have it hanging off to the side and not being attached. So, if I just take a moment here and color these in so that you can see the full effect. Again, when you're coloring something in black, make sure you're not scrubbing your page. You want your pen to be really light on the page so that you're not scrubbing. Okay, so now you can see the effect on that one piece. And we're going to do that to each section. So again, this is called Betweed. So we're just going to start here and come up, and then just turn your page and do the other side. And if you don't like that shape of seed pod, do a different one. It's your piece. If you're super into triangles, put triangles at the end of everything. You can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of this. This is pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go up. In the one example that I did for this class, Betweed was super organic. I actually had these lines going along here, almost looking like trees, like organic matter. I really enjoyed. It was a different way of me using Betweed than I've used it before, so that was really fun for me. So let's go ahead and make this one a little bit more like that one is. So I'm going to show you how I did it. in case you want to do one that's super organic as well. Okay. So I'll do this one that's a lot more organic. So what I did to make it look a lot more like a tree going up here is when I brought my line up, I didn't touch the same line. I made sure that I was going outside the line and I was undulating it a little bit and back and forth. And then I did the same thing on this side. Came over. And then when I came up here, I came inside this line to darken it in, and then still brought my piece over. So I was building on these sort of tree areas being less perfectly straight line like you see here, and more of a thicker, more organic line that went both ways, by the way. It wasn't just on one side. That's just like a super thick line. That didn't turn out very good. Okay, that's not working. So I will figure out what I'm going to do with that later. Not really liking how that turned out. But that is the freedom of never really making a mistake. It's always just, oh, what else could I do with that? Okay, so now I have this last section, and I really, really want to, I don't like this at all. I need to do something with this before I go on. What can I do with this? I can turn this into a ribbon. I darken in that ribbon, then it'll make sense with the rest of this piece. It's so funny, I usually never darken things in, and look at how dark this tile is. There's so many darkened spaces. Okay, see, that works better now, because now it kind of makes sense. So I'm just going to put some dots along here to funky it up a little bit, make it a little bit more Zentangle. Okay, now I can move on. That won't bother my eye. All right, so in here, I like to leave a section of Betweed that's really quite undone. And as you can see, I have different layers of how done this Betweed is, depending. You can see that some of them are like done in more of a perfect Betweed fashion, and some are not. So now we're going to open up this last section, and I'm going to have it a lot more open and less touching, so that it looks much more like seed pods that are trying to sort of finish their existence in the way that they're supposed to. There we go. Okay, I don't know why that ended up in a swirl. It just did. It works. This is a super fun tangle. This is like, you know, I'm teaching you like all of my favorite tangles just right now, because there's so many of them. I'll never run out. Let's be honest, I'll never run out. There's just so many. There's so many great tangles, and it's so fun to try something new that you haven't tried before, because all of a sudden you have a new favorite. You know, you can't say chocolate's your favorite if you've never tried strawberry. I'm just saying. Yeah, chocolate is my favorite, not strawberry, but you get the idea. Okay, so that is Betweed, and then we can shade that in whatever way we want as well. We can also turn that center section into something that's interesting. So since it isn't a perfect star shape, which is something that people will accentuate by taking this center section and then shading it. And so we could do that, and we could leave this white, or we could darken this and we could shade that. We could do whatever we want. I am going to darken it because that seems to be my jam for this tile, and so I'm just going to go with it and let it be what it is. Oh, that looks nice. Okay, it's funny how just a tiny thing like darkening that center just changes the way that it looks. I like that. Okay, so now we're going to do Tortuca and Printemps. And the reason that we're doing these two together is because essentially they're the same tile. It's just two different ways of using the same, or sorry, they're the same pattern. It's two different ways of using, in essence, the same pattern. And so I wanted to show them together because of that. So we're going to start up here, and I am going to bring in, which one am I going to bring in up there? Hold on, let me look. I'll bring it in. We're going to do Tortuca here. So I'm going to start off, I want to make a grid pattern, and we've got our grid pattern here. So I can follow one of them, or I can make a new one. And I think just for fun, I'm going to kind of sort of see if I can follow this line. So I'm going to start off with this line here, and I'm going to come up to where it would be, and I'm going to start bringing it over, and then beyond. And I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to now ignore this because this is what matters. I've just got that first line. Now I'm just going to focus on this. And making sure that I go in somewhat sort of a similar fashion. But I want this to be somewhat loose. I don't want it to be too terribly tight. Oh, I think I'll just do that much. Okay, so now I'm going to come in, and if you recall from last week, whenever I do a grid pattern, I start at the center and I work my way out. And I find that my lines end up being more even. It doesn't make them perfect. We're not going for perfect, but it makes them more even. I think I'm going to sneeze. Hopefully it'll pass. Okay, so here we go. I did not sneeze. It passed. We're winning. We're winning at this point. Okay, so here we go. Now, Printemps, I'm going to draw one outside of the grid for you first. I'm going to do it up here. Printemps is you do a dot, and then you go around, and you go around, and then you meet up with yourself. That's your end. It's like a little shell. Okay? So I'm going to do it again. Around and around, and then you just meet up with yourself. That's how you end it. So again, and we're just meeting up with ourselves. Very simple. So we're just putting a dot, going around, and then meeting up with ourselves. All right? Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to do ones that are behind so that I fill in the space, but I always do the first outside ones first so that you get a nice build-up of shape. There we go. Okay. This page is really messy from all the black that I've put on, and I'm just making it worse today. It's actually kind of fun. It's going to look good as background shading. That's what I'm going to call it. It's background shading. Hey, I did that on purpose. It's okay. All right, so now you've seen Printemps. You get the idea, right? It's a dot, go around, meet up with yourself. So we're just not going to meet up with ourselves. Here, we're going to start in the center because I find it's always better. And it doesn't matter what corner I start on, but I'm going to go from the corner and I'm going to go around and I'm just going to create as many swirls as I want with the dot in the center. So it's just doing it backwards. Do you see? You started with the dot, you're ending with the dot. So I can start off by choosing to go every second, like I did here, or I can fill all of them. And I'm going to fill all of them because I want to show you sort of the variety that you can get into by allowing yourself to just sort of fill in things differently. Like here, I'm touching along the sides. These can be like any shape you want them to be. And then you'll be able to go in and add some extra shading to really accentuate the points that maybe you have touching and all of that. But this is a really nice way to add a grid that is a bit looser. And everyone doesn't have to be different. They can all be same, exactly the same. I'm just trying to show you examples of what you can do. Okay. So now we've got that filled in. Isn't that fun? So now I'm going to continue with the Printemps. And one of the things that I love to do is to take a little bit of, Printemps going on, and then maybe add in some tipple as a bit of filler as well. Tipple is nice. I kind of look at it as something that can kind of clean your palette a little bit. If things are like really busy, then adding something like a tipple in, I find that it just sort of, it can calm the space down if you want it to. So great starting the day with you guys. Oh my gosh. I do love just teaching to the camera because one of the nice things is that I can do this whenever I want. And so it is very early here. That was the ice machine. Sorry about that. Little rogue Printemps here, just in amongst the tipple. There we go. Okay, I like that. Right. So that is definitely like not complete at all. So let's figure out what I want to do here. I think that I will add some more Printemps. Oh, you know what? I'm going to add deep rose. I really want to add deep rose. Because isn't that just like another example? Just set this down. Another example of the same shape, right? The same pattern in essence. Because we're just doing swirls. But here we're just making it so that some of the lines are thicker, some are thinner. if you don't know how to do Diva Rose, I actually have already released a video on that. But let me show you. So you do a dot, and you go around, and you pause, and add your little ladybug bumps here and there, wherever you want them. They can be whatever shape you want them to be. They can be as big or as small as you want. Keep in mind that you're trying to make this look kind of like a rose. So you want that interplay of the in and out that roses have on the bud when you look down at them. Just felt this switch. Now I'm doing little ladybugs all along the side, and I'm going to do some more of my crescent moon on the outside of this. So I'm going to go around and aura each of these little ladybugs. Oh, that was cute. Okay, now we're going to do it again. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to go with that. That's cute. That looks cute there. Okay. Oh, I like that. Okay, I'm going to add another rose here. Really gentle when you're filling in those black areas. Really lift your pen so it's barely touching the page. You want to be really gentle with your page. You don't want to damage the paper. Once your paper is damaged, you can't undamage it. And so what that means is that once you destroy the tooth, and the tooth is the texture on your paper, even when your paper feels like it doesn't have any texture, it does have a little bit, in order to hold on to the media that you're putting onto it. So once you damage that tooth and you, in essence, flatten it completely, you can't put any more layers of color on it. And so it's always a good idea to be gentle with your paper, depending on what tools you're using, of course. Different tools, you might be able to save your piece by adding like a different media on top. You could put gesso on top, or you can cut out a different page and put it over top of that page and then continue working on it. There's all different ways to save your work if that's what you're looking for. But if you're just using colored pencils on a page, you want to be gentle. Okay, what do I want to add here? I'm going to add a few more fascia, because they feel like they want to just sort of burst out on the scene. Okay, let's put some tipple in here. One thing that's important when you're doing tipple is you want to change the size of your little rocks, because you don't want to make a stack. You don't want it to be circle, 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 circle. That's another pattern, but that's not tipple. So you can do that, but it wouldn't be the same. Just so you know. Okay, I'm going to add a bit of tipple in here. Just a bit. And then I think I'll add some in this section here. Okay, now I'm going to do some shading. So I'm going to start off with my lightest color, and I'm going to use my brush pen. So I am using the Purple Gray 279 Faber Pastel. So I don't remember which one that was here. So we're going to have to find out. So let's start off by adding a little bit of shading into tipple and finding out what color we've done. Oh, okay. Now I see. There we go. I just love adding some shading to tipple. It just looks so good so quickly. I just love it. So we're just doing a backward C inside each one of these, or not actually every single one. Some of them we're just sort of coloring in or just putting sort of a dot on just to darken it a bit. Okay, so one of the things that we did in the last class is I put that dot, the gray dot, on the top of tipple and didn't like it, and so I turned it into fescue coming out of it. So you know what, I want to continue that same mistake going forward. So let's add a couple of fescue just coming out of here. There we go. Just so that it all makes sense, right? All right, let's start up in this corner here. Now, I have all of my tipple lit as though my light source is right here, up in this corner. So when I'm looking at this tipple in this corner, I want to shade it in the same way that I did all the other tipple, because otherwise it'll be confusing to your eye. So now that we have that, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do this Printemps. And what I like to do is I like to take the ones that are the most forward and draw a line around them. Really, this really speeds up shading this particular tangle if you do this. So you take all the first ones and you draw a line around them. And then you see how now they're even more forward. Now we want to look at how we're shading the tipple here. So we want to continue the shading in the same way. So you don't have to look at a light source at all with Zentangle. But what you do want to do is make sure that when you start shading things that you keep them kind of somewhat the same. Now, if you don't, it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. But if you want to sort of take your work to that next level kind of place, adding in some nice shading is a nice way to do it. I'm going to do a shadow right along here that's nice and deep. There we go. That looks better. Okay, I'm going to go in with my medium tone here, just because I want to see how much different it is from the one that I'm putting down. There, just get some variation to that line a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to use this medium one and do in between the lines. I'm hoping it's similar to this line, but if it isn't, that's fine. But that's kind of what my hope is that I'm coming in and I'm doing something somewhat similar, not darker. That's okay. I'm just going to come in and I want to go along those lines because I really want to darken those up and have the space in between really recede. So I'm going to switch back to that lighter marker again, and I'm just going to go into these corners and make it so that they're not straight. So the line that I'm making is I go from here and I go in a circular C motion and then a C motion, and you just follow that same shape, just doing it backwards and in reverse and upside down and all that sort of stuff. And if that is too confusing, then just do an X. An X works just as good. Gets you that darkness, that's what you're looking for. So it doesn't have to be complicated for you. You can see that the X looks just as good, right? So you do you and make it work best for you and for your hand. And if your hand wants to go and make it even better, make it even better. So now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to bring in another little tiny X in the center of all of this that takes it just that one bit darker. Let's see how that worked. Got to see from a distance to see how it worked. So what we're trying to do here, let me put this the way that I want it to sit. What we're trying to do here is to get the sections in between to suck back, like we have here. So you can see we just have to keep working this with another color. We're going to go in and we're going to round these edges even more. So we're going to go in with our which one is this? The 233 Cool Gray. And I'm going to bring this in and round these edges. Let's see what happens now. If we get more of the look we're looking for. And this is why when I draw, it takes me as long, usually, to do my shading as it did the drawing. Because for me, shading is super important. For my style. I'm not liking that very much. I wish I had some colored pencils. I do wish I had some colored pencils. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is still looking more square than I want it to. So I'm just going to go around and I'm going to just do a circle inside each of these to get it to a much more circular space. We'll see how that does. And you can see, like, I'm not being like super precious and, oh, it has to be perfect. It's just, there we go. That's doing better. Now it's starting to come back. It's not going in the way that I want it to, but I'm not unhappy with what it's doing, so it's good enough. So now I'm going to work on this end of the page. So you can see when I was talking last class about how your eye needs to be able to move around a piece. So let's look at my piece for a second. So we've got the dark that's pulling our eye in. Do you see how when you look at this, your eye is pulled over to here because it's dark? And then your eye is able to come along and it goes into the light area and it's able to come across the rest of the page because we have somewhere to anchor your eye. Now, if we continued and made everything dark, it would be hard for your eye to anchor. And if we left everything light, you know, if we cover this, your eye doesn't anchor anywhere. It just sort of flits around. So you can see the difference. You need something to anchor. So always keep that in mind. You want an anchoring piece. So you want something that's dark that's just going to help your eye come there and rest. And now we're going to do the top. After that little lecture. Okay, I want to go around, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to do Diva Rose first because I don't know what I want to do with this yet. I don't know how dark I want to take that or if I do it all. So Diva Rose, I don't usually shade Diva Rose very much, but I'm kind of in the mood to. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to actually aura the ladybugs. So I'm going to stay on whatever side the ladybugs are on and aura that side. So it doesn't matter if you're in or out, just aura in each one. Maybe weaving back and forth to give it that nice weaved look. Okay, so I did this outside one actually by mistake. I wasn't going to. So now I'm just going to go and I'm going to do the other ones so that they all match. Because, you know, nobody knows it's a mistake unless you tell them. So, I told you, now you know, it was a mistake. There we go. So, in order to continue this, because I kind of like the way that these little rainbows are going, I'm going to do the outside rainbow with the gray as well. But then I'm going to go back in with my pen because I'm going to add some perfs. P-E-R-F-S. Perfs. Perfs are when you put a circle either attached to or right above a line. And I'm going to go above, like this. And I'm making these quite large, actually. And they're not perfect circles. They don't have to be. Unless you do that gorgeous, like, absolute perfection work that some people do. I have friends who are CZTs and oh my gosh, some of the work they produce. Oh, it just blows my mind. I have lots of friends who are not CZTs, and the work they produce blows my mind. Anyways, here we go. So you can see how adding in some gray onto this, now it makes sense with the rest of the piece. And your eye moves really nicely over. Now I do want to leave something a little bit brighter, so I do want some white here, but I think that how I'm going to achieve that is by going down the center with my 233 cool gray, and I'm going to start up here at the top, and I'm going to follow my ribbon first. Here we go. And then I'm going to allow my line to continue down to there. Start the same thing, each of these, and having that little triangle in the center is actually a nice little pause point for my pen, where I can use my wrist to draw this line instead of my shoulder because it's shorter, but I can pause so that I don't get that unwelcome curve to my straight line that you get if you use your wrist. Because when you use your wrist, you just end up with lines that are curve, 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 because your wrist is moving it in that way. So when you pull with your hand, you can actually pull straight. So, okay, this page is so messy. I've got weird shadow lights going on. I didn't notice that until now. Sorry about that. Shadows, not shadow lights. Let me see. Let me see if I want to add anything more. You know, I don't know what I want to do. I want to add something here. Pull my eye up here. I think I'm going to go back in with my pen. And I think I'm going to do some Printemps coming up here. Just to make it a little bit. That's better. I think I like that better. Okay, that's not shaded enough. We need to go in and do better. Let me see what happens with this. Oh, I know what we need. We need a little feshu guy, a little Printemps guy coming up, who's not fully formed. That's kind of fun. Okay, I think we have a winner. It's funny, for me, just adding this little tiny like it's a feshu, but for me, it's a Printemps that's uncoiling. And so just adding that little guy took it from being incomplete to being complete. And the nice thing about these pieces is that you can turn them and decide which way it is that you want to have up, because there is no up and down. So always remember to not only hold your piece far away from yourself so that you can see it and you can have a really good view of what it is that's going on with your shading and stuff. You know, don't just do it for that, but also make sure that you're turning your page so that you can make a decision on how you want to hang it. Because sometimes the fescues make the decision for you, but they can hang down, they can hang sideways. They don't have to be something that is growing out of the ground. They can be growing from the top. They can be growing from the sides of a cavern. So that is our class today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I really enjoyed spending some time with you. I'm hoping, don't hold me to this, but I'm hoping that the next video you get from me is going to be from inside my garden. Temperatures are supposed to be going down. The heat wave is coming to an end. And then we go into monsoon season, so then we have the rains to deal with. But if you're willing to work around all this, I'm willing to work around all this so that we can hang out together, have some time, do some tangles, remember to breathe. We didn't take another breath, so let's do that now. Let's take our shoulders, give them a shake, sit bones in our chair, feet flat on the ground, okay? Nice, beautiful inhalation of breath with your eyes closed. Hold. And gently exhale. And we're going to do that again. Another intake of breath. And hold. And exhale. Give your shoulders a little bit more of a shake. Hold an elbow over on each side. Just give yourself that little bit more of a stretch. So, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you had a good time. When you post your art, please come to our community. You can get there by signing up for the newsletter, and then it'll give you a link to sign up for our community. Post your work, tag me in it, and I'll give you feedback. If you would like feedback, and if you want some support, if you're having a bit of a hard time doing a tangle, you can put that in the community as well. Tag me in it, and I'll give you a hand. If you'd like to see these videos before anybody else, join Patreon. You get to see them at least a week before they go live. At least a week before they go live. And I guess that's it. So thank you for joining me inside my, I guess, dining room, living room. I don't know what room this is, to be honest. It's a cat room. Let's be honest. I have 5 cats, 3 Maine Coons, and 2 ragdolls. Every room in this house is a cat room. So this is our cat room. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me in my cat room. And I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.